Yeah, I can hear you.
You were saying about your experience, Luke.
I had such an intense experience. First 2 to 3 days, it was like, okay, if this is going to be like that for the entire trip, it's going to be too much because we had so many experiences, so it was insightful.
Yeah, I guess it's something totally different, right? It's like instead of just going to a factory and talking about, the fashion industry, you're really like seeing that this is a human ecosystem. It's like it's people. It's just not something that people ordinarily do, is it? Like, even if you think about going to a factory in Europe, you're probably not going to meet the workers and then go to their home and have a meal.
Là chỉ mong muốn là công việc mình được ổn định, lương hướng ví dụ nó có thu nhập ổn định, ví dụ có nguồn hàng ổn định để cho mình có cuộc sống mình đủ để trang trải cho gia đình, lo cho con cái thôi. Em là tên Diệu, họ Tây thay đổi là Nguyễn Xuân Diệu. Thì em hiện tại em đang làm xưởng gò công ty giày Đại Lộc. Là em vô công ty em làm, nhưng 1 tháng sau là em có nhận giấy báo trúng tuyển mà em không có học.
Không thể học đó hả?
Dạ, lúc đó em đậu trường cao đẳng công nghiệp 4 Gò Vấp á. Cái giấy trúng tuyển hồi sơ em còn cắt ở trong đó, chặt em lục lên. Em còn cắt, nhưng vì kinh tế gia đình nó khó khăn quá nên em mới không đi học.
Luke, you were telling me how inspired you were about your visit to Jiu and Liang's home.
I think it gave me a good overview of their not entire life, but of their daily life. It felt a bit like being with a friend or having a friend who takes you into his life for a day. The relationship to them was a bit deeper, as if I just would have visited them at work.
Dạ, hiện tại chỉ có 2 anh em làm ở đây thôi chị. Ba mẹ thì ở quê, ba mẹ ở Quảng Nam. Nên là hiện tại thì 2 em đi làm xa nhà, cho nên là hiện tại thì có 2 anh em ở đây thôi. Chào mọi người, em tên là Nguyễn Thị Luyến, hiện cũng đang làm tại công ty Đại Lộc. Em là em gái ruột của anh Diệu, cùng 2 anh em cùng làm chung một công ty. Lúc trước em có làm ở trạm y tế ở quê được 1 năm, ra trường làm ở đó được 1 năm. Rồi trong này có tuyển, trong này lúc 2015 trong này công ty Đại Lộc thành lập có tuyển nhân viên y tế, cho nên em ông xin vô đây làm luôn rồi ở với anh cho vui.
It was one of the most wonderful and intense moments of the entire journey. We sat in this kitchen, we were surrounded by all the food, the spices, the herbs, the vegetables, and it was really hot and really natural and really familiar. And I learned so much about food and food preparation.
Rau thì tốt cho sức khỏe, là nhiều vitamin nhật. Mình nghĩ là ở Việt Nam em thì có nhiều đặc sản lắm, như phở Hà Nội hay là bún chả cái Đà Nẵng. Ở Quảng Nam em thì có quán mì Quảng. Thì hôm nay được nhân dịp tất cả mấy anh ghé thăm nhà em. Ở Gò Vấp á, trong khi chờ điểm thì em vô công ty em làm. Cái em làm được thời gian thì sau đó con em nó học ra nó làm ở ngoài quê á, lương nó thấp quá. Thì công ty em thấy công ty lớn, với lại em thấy phát triển, với lại cái phúc lợi, lương hướng, lương bổng, cái phúc lợi nó tốt. Nên em mới kêu ông em lên từ ở quê vào đây để anh em làm chung. Sáng thì thường là 6 giờ dậy. 6 giờ dậy thì lo rửa mặt này, thay đồ xong là mình đi ăn sáng. Em có đứa con năm nay 16 tuổi mà nó đang ở với ông bà nội hồi năm nó 5 tuổi. Bây giờ còn ở đây có 2 vợ chồng thôi. Thì vì làm đợt trước làm công nhân đây không có điều kiện để đưa đón nó, nên là đi về cho ông bà nội.
16 tuổi hả?
Dạ 16 tuổi. Năm nay vô lớp 10.
Con gái con trai?
Dạ con trai. Thường thì hè là con em nó sẽ vô đây, hoặc là em xin phép nghỉ phép về chơi, với lại Tết 2 tuần. Giờ cũng vừa đủ sống thôi chứ còn làm công nhân mà. Như vậy thì tôi chỉ có là kinh doanh thì mới có tiền nhiều, chứ còn làm công nhân thì phải cũng lương hướng là như vậy. Ví dụ nhà nước nó lên thì mình được hưởng thêm, hay là có tăng ca hay là nọ thì mình cũng có thêm tiền vậy đó.
Some things were a bit unusual to hear when I, for instance, heard that he doesn't live together with his son. On the hand, the daily routine is quite similar to ours, but of course you also could feel the difference just between us in such moments where we talk then about the son, and you also could see that it hurt.
How did it differ meeting Ju and Lang compared to Chu, Hang and Tan?
I mean, they were roughly my age, so it was very easy to also to understand them and to connect to them.
Mỗi ngày sẽ đổi món.
Trong phần cơm thì hôm nay thực đơn là cốt lết ram rồi củ su xào, lá xếp là chuối già.
Dạ tại vì em ra riêng, tự độc lập riêng á, là em xài cái khoản riêng của em, còn thu nhập của ba mẹ thì ba mẹ lo riêng, dạ chứ không có xài chung thu nhập. Mình tên là Thư, là 18 tuổi, công nhân của phòng bạc riêng. Tại vì em vừa đủ tuổi là vô công ty này làm luôn.
Bình thường là một ngày làm 8 tiếng và sẽ nghỉ vào ngày Chủ nhật. Ngày Chủ nhật hàng tuần sẽ được nghỉ. Mình tên Hằng, năm nay 27 tuổi, là công nhân may. 18 tuổi là thi tốt nghiệp xong là em vào công ty làm.
Thời gian rảnh thì em có thể ngủ tới trưa hoặc là đi chơi, sau đó là về nhà chơi game. Em tên Thanh, 20 tuổi, em làm tổ phó chuyền may.
Which video game do you play usually?
Liên quân mobile.
Như người thích may, rồi người thích in, rồi thích làm bộ phận đó, người ta sẽ xin vô công ty này. Họ thích vô nghề may trong công ty á. Cũng tùy theo người thích may hoặc là thích ép chẳng hạn, rồi thích vậy như là sản xuất đồ đá banh, là hiện tại là giống như PUMA làm.
Although they were very shy, but it was the most fun interview because we could talk about a lot of personal things like what are your dreams, what are your hopes. But I think you always have to look at where are they and where do they want to go within, like, you know, their country, their industry, their standards. And this was a really great learning for the entire trip, actually. Of course, when I saw the conditions and when I compared them maybe to an office or a factory here in some European countries where I've been to, then I thought, okay, these conditions aren't as good as I usually know them. But I think it's really crucial not to compare the conditions from that country to another, but from this country right now to how it was a couple of years ago. And this made it easier for me, to be honest, to observe everything and not to judge too quickly.
আমার কাজ করতে ভালো লাগে দেখি তো এতদিন কাজ করি, কাজ করতে ভালো লাগে, ডিবিএল এর নিয়ম কারণ সব কিছুই ভালো লাগে দেখে এতদিন ওখানে কাজ করি। আমার নাম ফরিদা, আমি এখানেই থাকি, এই বাসায় থাকি, ডিবিএল এ চাকরি করি। এই আমার বাবার বাড়ি সিরাজগঞ্জ আর শ্বশুর বাড়ি খুলনা। আমরা যে মরিচ ছাড়া খাইনি।
For me, it's garlic usually.
আগে বললে তো রসুন দিতাম।
You told her before.
Yeah, next.
নেক্সট ভবিষ্যৎ নিয়ে এখন খালি ওই ছেলেটাই আছে যে ছেলেকে লেখাপড়া করাবো এইটাই, তাছাড়া আর কোনো বাড়তি টেনশন নেই। আমার আশা তো ছেলের আশায় সেনাবাহিনী হবে, ছেলের আশা সেনাবাহিনী হবে, বিডিআর সেনাবাহিনী হওয়ার অনেক শখ। ছোটোবেলা থেকে খালি পাই আমি সেনাবাহিনীর চাকরি করবো।
How do you usually enjoy your free time? What do you usually do?
শুক্রবারে বাসায় থাকলে কত বাসায় কাজ আছে, এক কাজ করি, বাচ্চারা একটু সময় দেই, বাচ্চার স্কুলের কাপড় চোপড় রেডি, ধোয়া দেই, রান্না বাড়া, খাওয়া, ঘুম। আর এই খেলাধুলাও ঘরের ভিতরেই ক্যারাম বোর্ড খেলি, আবার লুডো খেলি, আবার এই যে গুটি দিয়ে কী যেন পোলাই বানায় হেডি খেলি, এইভাবে সময় কাটে। আবার এই যে মাছের এই যে পানি এই করি, একটু পানি চেঞ্জ করে পোলাই, এর সাথে একটু হেল্প করি।
Does the salary you earn at your work, is it enough to support you and your family?
হ্যাঁ, হয়ে যাচ্ছে, এটা হয়ে যাচ্ছে। এখানে বেতনটা তো সরকারের হাতে, সরকারি বেতন বাড়ার কথা যদি বাড়ে তাহলে তো সবার জন্যই ভালো, সরকারি বেতনটা বাড়লে সবার জন্যই ভালো, আমাদের জন্য, সরকারের জন্য, সবার জন্যই ভালো।
Talking to Farida, I think it was one of the interviews which was mostly centered around working conditions, also working as a female in the garment industry. I got to know a lot in this interview. She was talking mainly positive about the industry. There also was a lot about reading in between the lines. But it gave me a lot of food for thought, because I thought, okay, how does Farida maybe feel? How does her family feel? Was she also impacted? How was she impacted? Did every single factory worker strike or not? As I had or have this personal connection to her, it made me think a lot about it.
It becomes incredibly complicated and tragic, and the unions continue to fight on behalf of the workers, but they struggle to make agreements with the government, who ultimately decide how much the salaries are increased. And this time around, they managed to land on a 56.25% increase to the base salary, which is the biggest ever, but workers say it's still not enough with rising inflation and difficulties in the cost of living. So there's still disagreement there. But as you said, improvement and progress, it's just, is it enough? Is it quickly enough? So Luke, how did it feel to meet Anu as an MD of a factory after speaking to garment workers previously?
To be honest, after the interview, I had a lot of mixed feelings. Anu was very positive, which I liked a lot. I was a bit more skeptical, which shouldn't mean that I didn't trust him, but I was very curious to talk to the workers.
30 years ago, the workers, they didn't know what to do and their rights. Nowadays, we know what we need to do. So nowadays, that's the difference, 30 years back and now. I'm Mohammed Abdul Kader Onu. Everybody calls me Onu because this is short. And I'm the Deputy Managing Director of this company.
Can you show me how to usually? Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How we eat, we just put it. Actually, in Bangladesh, we eat by hand. We just take it this way and we eat.
I love it.
Yeah. First, we take the rice, then we take the vegetable, then we take the fish, or mutton or chicken, something like this.
Wow.
That's how we eat. Our total manpower was 100 people. Now it is 45,000 people in our company. Because, thing is that we thought that we built a new factory. When we built a new factory, we have a mindset that we always thought that to set up a new factory, to create a job. So it's help for the society as well.
I was very curious to talk to the workers afterwards and to see the factories, or to see more factories, to actually get their own picture of what he said was really true. The first thing he immediately mentioned was sustainability. He said, we have to take care of our environment. This is the priority number one. And he said that a couple of years ago, this wasn't such a big issue as it is now.
So we always tell our next generation, my son, my brother's son, that we are making this thing, and you know, you have to help the society, environment. We made these facilities for the local people, and for the education as well.
Well, it was also nice to hear that they do things for the workers, not only that they have these facilities in which they can work in, but they had this really cool fair price shop, and we actually could see it and witness it after work. All the workers came to and bought their groceries, for instance, to a much cheaper price than the market price. And we also had this small station where workers could leave their babies and they'll then be taken care of. They also had a medical center. So I think it was very nice to witness that factory isn't only about working and going there to work and coming back home, but that there are a lot of social opportunities for workers to have in general, more pleasant life.
মহিলারা অনেক আগায় গেছে, নারী পুরুষ ডিবিএলে ভেদাভেদ নাই, নারী পুরুষ সমান। যেমন আমি একটা অপারেটর, আরেকজন একটা অপারেটর, ছেলেও একটা অপারেটর, আমার বেতনও যা ওর বেতনও তা, দুজনের স্যালারি একই। নারী পুরুষ ভেদাভেদ নাই, কোনো আলাদাভাবে দেখেন। 8টা থেকে 5টা পর্যন্ত জেনারেল, আর যদি জরুরি শিপমেন্ট হয় তাহলে 7টা।
আর আমাদের কাজ হলো মালিক এবং শ্রমিকের সাথে যাতে আরও ভালোভাবে মিশা যায় এবং কথা বলা যায়, সেই কাজটা আমরা করি। আমার নাম এলি, আমি এখানে কোয়ালিটিতে চাকরি করি প্রায় 10 বছর। আমার স্বামী আছে, আমি আর আমার এক ছেলে ডিপ্লোমা ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিংয়ে পড়াশোনা করে।
Thank you so much.
ওয়েলকাম।
Thank you.
না আমরা সবাই এক হয়ে কাজ করি। আমাদের যদি একটু কোনো সমস্যা তাহলে আমরা সবাই একসাথে শেয়ার করি, একসাথে ওটা সমাধান করি। আমি নূরজাহান, আমি সুইং অপারেটর, এখানে চাকরি করি 5 বছর যাবত। আমার হাজব্যান্ড এখানে জব করে, আমার 2 মেয়ে।
You are union workers, right? First of all, maybe you want to explain what the unions do. What's your daily job and what do you do for the factory?
আমি ইউনিয়নের সভাপতি আর ও ইউনিয়নের সেক্রেটারি। আর হ্যাঁ, আমরা ইউনিয়নের সদস্য হতে চাইছি। তারপরে আমাদের শ্রমিক প্রতিনিধিরা আমাদেরকে ভোট দিছে, ভোট দেওয়ার পরে আমরা 17 জনের কমিটি গঠিত হয়েছে। সেই 17 জন আমাদেরকে 2 জনকে সভাপতি এবং সেক্রেটারি নির্বাচিত করছে। আমাদের সম্পর্কটা অনেক ভালো। আমরা যদি কোনো কথা নিয়ে আমাদের মালিক পক্ষের কাছে যাই, তারা আমাদের কথা সুন্দরভাবে শুনে এবং বুঝে, এবং যদি সাথে সাথে সমাধান করার হয় সমাধান করে, না হয় পরে সময় নিয়ে সেই সমস্যাটা সমাধান করে আমাদেরকে জানায় যে এইভাবে আমরা এই জিনিসটা করছি। আগে থেকে আমাদের সেফটি সিকিউরিটি সব কিছু নিয়ে আমাদের এখন আরও বেশি করে কাজ করা হয়। আমাদের সেফটি ইস্যুগুলো বেশি করে দেখা হয় এবং ম্যানেজমেন্টও আরও বেশি করে মনোযোগ দিয়েছে এই বিষয়গুলি আমাদেরকে লাগবে। এবং আমাদের যে ভাইয়ারা আছে পুমা ভাইয়ারা, এই সেফটি সিকিউরিটিগুলি নিয়ে অনেক ইস্যু করে এবং তারা অডিটে আসে, ভিজিটে আসে, আইসাইগুলি নিয়েও তারা কথা বলে। তাই ম্যানেজমেন্টও ওদের সাথে হয়ে আমাদের সাথে এই কাজগুলি আরও বেশি করে আগায় নিয়ে যায়।
I think unionisation has been a critical step for the industry, and it's a fairly recent one. After the Bangladesh Accord came into effect, it's a Bangladesh Accord on safety for factories. Part of that, which has been adopted in Bangladesh now, was allowing unionisation of workers. And so that's given workers a vehicle for expressing what they need, what they want, their own safety, and they've got agency of unions. And that's been so successful, it's now been rolled out to the international court, so it's being implemented in Pakistan now. You know, workers having a voice creates tension because they are being heard now. But this is a necessary part of being able to negotiate and collectively bargain.
Are there special moments you can remember in which you felt very proud of your work?
যে ম্যাডাম, আমরা ইউনিয়ন হওয়ার পরে, আমাদের ইউনিয়নটা হয়েছে প্রায় 5-7 মাস হয়েছে। এই ইউনিয়নটা হয়েছে, এই ইউনিয়ন হওয়ার পরে আমরা ঈদের ছুটি কাটাইতে যাই। ঈদের ছুটি আমরা একটু বেশি চাইছিলাম আমাদের ম্যানেজমেন্টের কাছে। যেন আমাদের ঈদের ছুটিটা একটু বেশি দেওয়া হয়, আমরা যেন ভালোভাবে সুন্দরভাবে ঈদটা করে আসতে পারি সবাই, সেই জিনিসটা আমাদের ম্যানেজমেন্ট মেনে নিছে এবং ঈদের বোনাস ছুটি ছাড়া যা কিছু আছে সব কিছু আমাদের সুন্দরভাবে তারা দিছে। এটা আমাদের একটা কাজ ইউনিয়ন হওয়ার পরে।
হ্যাঁ, যেমন কয়েকদিন আগে প্রচণ্ড বৃষ্টি হতো, তো তখন দেখা যায় আমাদের অ্যাডমিনের সামনে পানি থাকতো, তো আমরা ট্রেন ইউনিয়নে যারা আছি তারা ম্যানেজমেন্টের সাথে কথা বলার পরে ওখানে ড্রেন করে দেওয়া হয়। ড্রেন করার পরে যাতে বৃষ্টি পানি জমা থাকতো, এটা এখন সমস্যার সমাধান হয়ে গেছে। মানে এরকম ছোটো ছোটো কাজ আমরা অনেকে শেষ করছি ম্যানেজমেন্টের সাথে কথা বলে।
আগের থেকে এখন আরও অনেক ভালো হয়েছে এবং আগে থেকে আমরা আরও সুন্দরভাবে তাদের কাছে যাইতে পারি এবং সুন্দরভাবে কথা বলতে পারি এবং আমরা আমাদের সমস্যাটা সমাধান করে নিয়ে আসতে পারি। আগে থেকে অনেক উন্নত হয়েছে সেটা।
So you actually could really visually see the chain of then talking to a union worker who then talks to the manager and then makes an improvement within the factory.
Definitely challenges every time is every beginning was challenge, every new challenges are coming, you know, especially for the owner, you know, I've seen the main challenges are the salaries, not only salaries, you know, the what is called inflation. Inflation, and you know the dollar price gone up, the everything, the economy of Europe, like you have the Europe economy and the American economy, you know. So nowadays it's really challenging for us.
So what became clear to me was that there's a tension between what brands are trying to achieve business-wise and to meet their sustainability goals, and the tools and the resources that factories have at their disposal to meet those goals on behalf of brands.
I could see that also the people in Bangladesh and Vietnam made the improvements a lot by themselves, so that it's not only about the West and the companies in the West, big companies and the customers, but it's also about the workers and the factory owners themselves who want to make the improvements. I also learned that food is a great connection. I think I knew that in beforehand as well, but here it was even more obvious because we didn't speak the same language and we still somehow could talk to each other, you know.
And I think this trip teaches us that they have a right to progress, they have a right to develop, and they have a right to adjust, transition. And so unless we understand the context that they're operating in and the constraints, we're not really fit to speak about this topic. So, you know, through food, through humanity, you brought this lesson for us about judgment and context, you know, and taking information from people, from the source.